Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Football footnotes: if the Steelers are to upset the Ravens, here are 3 specific fixes they'll need. When you lose 34-17, as the Pittsburgh Steelers did in Baltimore in Week 16, that means there are plenty of things to correct. That's particularly true if you face the same opponent in the playoffs 3 weeks later, as the Steelers are doing Saturday when they visit Baltimore again to battle the Ravens for a 3rd time this season. So what are the most glaring of those substantial issues that the Steelers have to fix? In this Friday's Football Footnotes, we give you a specific element on offense, defense, and special teams that must improve against the Ravens if the Steelers are going to pull off a big upset Saturday night. Offense: avoid cataclysmic turnovers. This one is the most obvious. The Steelers had 2 giveaways that doomed them in Baltimore last month. The first was Russell Wilson's fumble at the Ravens' 4-yard line in the second quarter, with the game tied 7-7. Then Wilson's 4th quarter pick 6, thrown to Marlon Humphrey, was the real backbreaker. That made the score 31-17. The Steelers have 6 giveaways during their current 4-game losing streak. They only had 11 over the first 13 games. But Wilson insists those numbers won't scare the offense into being conservative. "I think you've got to be aggressive in your mentality, in the run game, the pass game, and having no fear," Wilson said. "Especially in the playoffs, things go your way a lot, sometimes they don't. It hasn't just been the volume of turnovers. It's been the timing and the location of when and where they occurred. The 2 in Baltimore were the most direct reason why the Steelers lost that day. Wilson's first half end-zone interception against the Kansas City Chiefs and the fumbled pitch to Najee Harris in the 3rd quarter of the loss in Philadelphia, trailing 20-13 in Philadelphia territory, were also crushing. Defense: do better against tight ends, especially in the red zone. The Ravens' tight ends killed the Steelers. In Game 2, Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely combined for 7 catches, 66 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Their 2 touchdown catches were the result of obvious coverage breakdowns. "We have to be aware of those guys," defensive coordinator Terrell Austin said of the Baltimore tight ends. "They're both really good. They're good route runners. They know how to get open if there is a scramble play. We'll have to adjust some things. The biggest thing we do is make sure that we're near them and give ourselves an opportunity to make a play. We won't make all of them. But we've got to be near them to try." Scouting the Ravens, Steelers face their biggest rival on the road for first time in playoffs. Over Baltimore's past 6 games, Andrews and Likely have combined for 9 touchdowns, including 1 TD catch in each of those games for Andrews. Both scored during the December 21 game against the Steelers, each of the touchdowns evolving into a flashpoint regarding the Steelers' defense's issues with communication and assignments. Likely has 3 touchdowns in his past 5 games against the Steelers. Andrews has 48 receptions in 11 career outings against them. Key injuries: the Ravens will be without number 1 wide receiver Zay Flowers because of a knee injury suffered last week, but change of pace running back Justice Hill will return to the lineup after missing the past 2 games because of a concussion suffered in the game against the Steelers. Steelers starting cornerback Dante Jackson is expected to return after missing 2 of the past 3 games because of a back injury. Starting right guard Mason McCormick is listed as questionable to play after suffering a broken left hand during last week's regular season finale. Series record: Steelers lead 36-26, including 3-1 in the postseason. Series notes: this is the first Ravens-Steelers postseason game played in Baltimore. Each of the previous 4, during the 2001, 2008, 2010 and 2014 seasons, were played at what is now called Acrisure Stadium. The Steelers did, however, play a December 1976 divisional playoff game in Baltimore, at the old Memorial Stadium against the Colts. The Steelers won that one, 28-10. The Steelers won the first 3 playoff games against the Ravens, including the 2008 AFC Championship game, but lost in the 2014 wild-card round. In the regular season series, the Steelers had won 8 of 9 before the defeat 3 weeks ago. This is the 4th playoff meeting between Steelers coach Mike Tomlin and the Ravens' John Harbaugh. Only one coaching tandem has matched up in the postseason more often in NFL history, the Steelers' Chuck Noll and the then Oakland Raiders' John Madden, whose teams played each other each year between 1972 to 76. The Steelers are 9-8 against the Ravens in primetime games, but have lost 6 of the past 9 such meetings. The teams have never played at night in the playoffs. Notable, the Steelers have a 5-game postseason losing streak, having most recently won a playoff game on January 15, 2017 against the Kansas City Chiefs, 18-16, in the divisional round. Since 2017, the two franchises are a combined 2-10 in playoff games. This is the Steelers' 7th playoff game played at night, tying the Green Bay Packers for the second most in NFL history. Stephen A. Smith thinks Mike Tomlin should consider leaving Steelers. Stephen A. Smith has stood by Mike Tomlin for years. But staring down the barrel of another one-and-done season, the Pittsburgh Steelers heavy underdog Saturday night against the Baltimore Ravens, even Smith is wondering if change is brewing at the top of the coaching staff food chain. So much so that Smith endorsed the idea of Tomlin moving on to become the Chicago Bears' next head coach. The answer to that question would be yes, Smith said when asked if Tomlin should consider it during ESPN's First Take Thursday morning. "I love Mike Tomlin. I hope he doesn't leave. But I want to make sure I emphasize what I'm saying here. There does come a point in time, and I'm not saying that is the case yet with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but there does come a point in time where you have to ask yourself a question. Is a new voice and a new vision required?" Such questions surfaced late last year during the Steelers' 3-game losing streak and led to similar speculation. Could Tomlin be traded? Would the team move on from him? Would he hang up his whistle and slide into a broadcast booth? Those questions were silenced after the Steelers won their final 3 regular season games and snuck into the playoffs, even if they were quickly dispatched by the Buffalo Bills in round 1. Speculation about Tomlin being traded or eyeing other jobs has picked back up during the season's 4-game losing streak. It's largely been contained to daytime fodder, though ESPN's Adam Schefter noted at least one team seriously explored the idea only to be shut down by Tomlin's no-trade clause. "We move on from players every single time," Smith said. "They moved on from Joe Montana. This is what happens. And so I look at it, they moved on from Peyton Manning. This is what happens. So why is it sacrilegious to bring that up when it comes to a coach?" Should the Steelers fall to the Ravens this weekend, extending their playoff drought another year and capping a historic collapse, Tomlin may no longer be viewed in the favorable light the national media has painted him in for years. And certainly not by the local media, with fans starving for signs of progress. Like it or not, Tomlin remains a sure bet to return in 2025 thanks to the 3-year extension he signed last offseason. But he might not enter it with the pomp and circumstance those like Stephen A. Smith have given him over the years. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Mike Tomlin? Leave your opinion in the comments.